Hello, hello, what's up? Wow, you guys are beautiful people. I love that. Hey, look, I've met a lot of people, and a lot of people have said, hey, man, you've inspired me. And so for everybody that said that or didn't say that or ever seen any of my content, I appreciate that. But what I want to say to you guys is that you all have inspired me, because I've seen so many people that's on the grind. They're hustling, they're learning, they're building, and you can teach a lot of things, but you can't teach ambition. And you guys are all ambitious people, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So give yourselves a round of applause. And the guys over at EYL, let's give them a round of applause, because wow, this is amazing. Hey, look, I want to introduce some legends of the franchising game. These guys are amazing. They've done amazing things. And today, there's 33 million franchises. But of the 33,000, right? And of those, there's only 3,500 that are black owned. What that means, I think I messed those numbers up, but we're gonna double back on that. But what that means is that there's a very small percentage of people that look like me, black, brown people, that know about the franchising game. And so while there's 14% of us in the country, there's only 1% that are engaged in franchising. So we need to learn more about it. So that's what this is about. That's what you're gonna learn here. So I'm going to interview these legends, right? And so the first is Kika Wise. Kika is one of the first black female franchisors in the nation. Her first business burned to the ground, and when it burned to the ground, she didn't fold. What she did is she built Kika Stretch Studios, and that became one of the first female franchises in the country. And she went on to build Black Box and become the CEO and founder of Black Box franchising. And she's here today to talk about her journey and to more than that, help you on your journey to building financial wealth through franchising. So let's welcome Kika Wise to the stage. So next, we have Daren Hawthorne. And Daren has franchising in his blood. He's the president of Black Box, and he grew up and was a part of Golden Crust family, the Golden Crust Empire, which is the largest black-owned franchisor in the country. And he's been doing this forever. He's been a part of $3 billion in sales globally, and he has joined Black Box team as the president, and his goal is to help other entrepreneurs level up so that they can learn to make money in their sleep. So let's welcome Daren to the stage. What's up? Next, we have another legend, Antonio McBroom. Now, Antonio is the CEO of the Primo Partners, and it's the largest Ben & Jerry's franchise group in the country. What started out as a college job just scooping ice cream has turned into an entrepreneurial enterprise or empire. And what's amazing about this guy is that not only is Ben & Jerry's, he also owns some Starbucks, and he owns a number of those across the country. So he's passionate about creating pathways to ownership for underrepresented communities, mentoring the next generation of entrepreneurs, and proving that you can build wealth while making a difference. So welcome Antonio McBroom to the stage. Kika, happy to be here?
So happy to be here.
All right. We're happy to have you, and we want to know what it's like to be, and a little bit about your journey, becoming one of the first black franchisors, female black franchisors in the country.
Yes, so thank you so much, Rashad, Troy, Earn Your Leisure, InvestFest for having us. This is actually our second year being here, super thankful, and thank you for moderating the stage. So I started my first national brand with just $500, and I started the business to take care of my son. At the time, he was small, and I just wanted freedom, I wanted to show up, and I wanted flexibility, and it turned into a business by accident. Then, as TJ said, my main location caught on fire, burnt down to a crisp, and that was my main moneymaker. And when I was outside looking at the flames subside, this guy was next to me, and he said, "I just bought a package." And I'm like, he didn't know I was the owner. And at that moment, I knew it wasn't just about me anymore. So at that same time, I got a front page story in the New York Times while my business caught on fire. So that taught me that sometimes in life, the good happens with the bad at the same time, so you have to keep going. So fast forward, I decided to turn it into a franchise because I wanted to expand. I didn't want to keep using my own resources. I didn't want to use all of my time, so I went on Google and I was like, God help me, what do I do? Franchising popped up. So I turned my business into a franchise. I started scaling. And then in 2020, I had someone say, Kika, I was referring people, I was saying you should turn your business into a franchise, and someone said, Kika, focus on your own brand, don't help them. And when they said that to me, it was the beginning of my calling to create a vehicle for us. Shout out to all the small business owners in here. Shout out. Black Box was created for you, so I decided to focus on my brand and another brand and create Black Box Franchising to help small business owners become national brands.
Love it. Question real fast. How many business owners are in the room? Awesome. How many have been in business for over a year? How many's profitable? Y'all might want to see them.
How many? Look, how many want to franchise?
There you
Perfect,
go.
perfect.
Love it.
Yes.
So Daren, based on your experience at Golden Crust and now at Black Box, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about franchising?
I would say that it is almost, I like this, I'm nice and loud. Like it's impossible to do, right? People think about franchising as like McDonald's, but they have billions of dollars, Burger Kings and all these major brands, but what they don't realize is you can become a franchisor by just making the decision to do it, right? And in 2025, that knowledge and that information is available. Kika built a big brand, my family built a big brand. None of us are super special. We just went down one path, we stayed consistent, and we had a precise goal. We want to franchise, ensure that we can secure that generational wealth through a brand that we've built, and that's it, stay focused. But people think it's impossible. And Kika and I are testaments to the fact that it's not impossible, right? You just have to start, you have to make a decision and seek information.
Love it, love it. Hey, who's heard of Golden Crust? All right, so.
Shout out to you guys, we appreciate you and we love you.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. My brother, question for you. You got to tell us, because everybody wants to know how did you go from scooping ice cream in a college job to being the youngest entrepreneur in the franchise or in the brand history to reach $20 million in revenue?
Blessing to be here, y'all. 2004, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It's my orientation weekend for college. I scooped myself a job at the Ben & Jerry's ice cream franchise in town. Fast forward 4 years later, senior year of college, time to start thinking about what's next. I started asking some bold questions, the wildest of which was, what will it take for me to buy this franchise? Not one day, not someday, but by the Sunday that I graduate this year. A lot of people looked at me like I was crazy, stupid college kid. It's not possible. I made a business plan. I started my due diligence, discovery. Matter of fact, I pulled out my passport. I went from Vermont to the headquarters down to where they had their annual meeting in Cancun, Mexico that year. And I think that was my final test to see if I would pass. Can a 21-year-old college kid go to an all-inclusive open mini bar for the first time and still make it to 8 a.m. sessions? Now, I passed it barely, and I'll never forget, a couple months later, my mom describes it as one of the best times of her life because it's Mother's Day. And yes, her firstborn is graduating college, but the triple whammy for us was she and our pastor sat down at that table with me, and we signed that franchise agreement 2 days before I graduated college.
Love that. Love that. Now, let me ask you a question. How did you get the money? Because, first of all, the due diligence stuff and all that, there was no ChatGPT. So you figured that out on your own. So I want to know how you figured that out first, but then the other thing I want to know is where'd you get the money?
Yeah. So from a money standpoint, I was raised by my Meemaw. And Meemaw down south, we know is Southern for grandma. Mm-hmm. And we had what I learned to know was an old-fashioned lifestyle where we had an axe in the backyard that we chopped down wood when we got cold. And we had a red bucket for a toilet inside in the Johnny house in the back. And each day we'd go with jugs of water to a neighbor's house and get water for bathing and stuff. So when I went to college, it was for education, but it was also to go get a bag. And I knew that it was clear for me to grow my family's financial trajectory. So the way I did that was I did all my classes on Tuesday and Thursday for 4 years. That made me a hot commodity in college. I could work all weekend, open availability. And so I would use my scholarship money and I would invest it straight into CDs or real estate. And I would use my working money to pay for college expenses. From there, it opened up the opportunity for me when it was time to buy the business that I had just enough with my business partner to meet all the qualifications. And then we had bought some real estate, which is really important in franchising. Outside of your franchise, buy real estate because that can serve as a collateral that you need to get the loans that you want.
Love it, man. That's awesome. Hey, look, so we just talked about how you bought a franchise, and that's great. But a lot of folks here want to start and become a franchisor, right? So question to you guys is, how do you become, what's the first 3 steps in becoming a franchisor?
Well, the first step is to go to blackboxfranchising.com.
There you go.
On all social media platforms as well. So the first step is to fire yourself from the business. So there's so many business owners who are behind the counter, answering all the calls. Raise your hand if that sounds like you. Sending out the emails, having to talk to angry clients. You're working in the business and not on it. So when you work in the business, it's actually a job, which is fine because sometimes people want to just create a job for themselves, but it's actually not a business until it functions without you operating it on a daily basis. So you should be able to go to Cancun, Aruba, and Daren always talks about how his royalties just keep coming in while he's sleeping. So that's the benefit of franchising. So working on the business and not in it, and then creating systems and processes so that when you do franchise, you don't have to have it perfect. It doesn't have to be, the finished product, but just have something that allows someone else to learn how to operate your business that they can read. A lot of us keep these things in our head and we try to tell them and then we get angry at our employees. You never wrote it down for them to even understand. That's your job as a business owner. And number 3, stop giving up. None of this is easy. It's possible for anyone, but you'll never get there if you keep talking yourself out of everything. So follow TJ Millionaire Mentor on Instagram, get inspired, and just keep pushing forward, because every founder, every brand creator has a crazy story and things that they had to overcome. So overcome those things, encourage yourself to overcome.
Love it, love it. So let me ask you a question. So should people be franchising? The question is, should people be franchising as a quick money thing? Should that be the focus, or is there something else?
There is no honest, quick way to make money. So if you want to get into franchising, it is not a quick money thing. It is a slow, steady process that will be able to secure your family's wealth for a long time, right? And when you think about franchising, you want to make sure as a franchisor that you're prepared, because you're taking franchisee money. And I say your obligation to people is increased when you start taking other people's money. So if somebody comes in, they pay you that franchise fee that Antonio just talked about, you better be ready to serve and support them as franchisees. So certainly not quick and easy, a different way to go about it as opposed to doing the day-to-day lifting. No shortcuts at all in franchising.
Can you talk about, like, you're one of the few people in our community that can talk about it from a legacy standpoint, right? Because when I hear the name Golden Quest, I saw it in a movie one time, and I was like—
You called me, I remember.
Yeah. As soon as I see the name, I'm thinking about you and your family and what you guys have created. Can you talk about it from a legacy standpoint? What does it mean? How does it feel? Because you know how it feels. I'm first generation at this thing, you know?
Yeah, and I'll take it a step back and just give some high-level overview.
Yep.
So for those that don't know, as a franchisor, you do get ongoing royalties from your franchisees. And that goes into your coffers, whether you want to put it back into your operational expenses, pay yourself, whatever. But those payments come for as long as that franchise agreement lives, right? And oftentimes the founders and the franchisors that founded businesses hundreds of years ago, they're no longer here. So when you talk about legacy, and I'll give a better example in a second, if you're a franchisor, those royalties come in for as long as that business is alive. Mm-hmm. So you think about some of these old companies that are franchisors, those founders aren't here anymore. Mm-hmm. Me personally, my father passed away in 2017. Since then, we've done over $1 billion in system-wide sales. Wow. Because when he was gone, the system went on. And that's the beauty of franchising, and your offspring get to continue to reap the benefits. And so long as they don't drop the bag, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Yes, no, I love that. So, sort of a follow-up question to that. Does everybody know what franchising really is? Who's unclear? Everybody knows. What? We know what, everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows how it works. Everybody knows why it's important.
Let's go high level.
Yeah? So
we can go high level.
Can you explain it high level, why it's important, how it works, how it's different than other businesses? Just sort of the basics, like just so people really understand. So in my world, people ask me all the time how to get wealthy, right? And the one way to get wealthy is you have to have something to offer, whether it's skill, products, right, services. And then you have to figure out a way to add leverage to it, right? So with that, Kika, tell us the Reader's Digest version of this thing.
How much time do I have? Okay, all right.
Your show.
So I'll start with saying a lot of businesses don't realize that they've already done the hard work. Franchising is taking your business to the next level, but figuring out the concept, figuring out the foundation of the brand is the hard part that you all have already done. Now, the next step is, like I said, firing yourself is the first step, but then can your model be duplicated? So if I want to find a way to make money, earn a living, can you teach me how to do what you do so I can receive similar financial results? And so that's why systems and processes are so important, and it's the foundation of any franchise. What does that mean? When you open the door, what's the first thing you do? You unlock the door, you go to the front desk, You check the email. It sounds funny, but literally that's the beginning of systems and processes. And like I said, most business owners keep them in their head. Franchising is writing them down into what's known as an operations manual. So I like to say that franchising is a bunch of paperwork and a bunch of rules and systems. It really is paper, and business owners have already done the hard work. What they don't do is write down, it's almost like a trust. You leave the directions and instructions for your bloodline. So, I'm getting chills. So, so the business, your franchise becomes the trust of your business. It becomes the prototype of your business that can be passed down from generation to generation. If you don't franchise it, you just create a model that when you pass away, oftentimes the business shuts down. There's no instructions left. So within the franchising world, there's an operation manual that teaches whoever how to operate your business. There's the franchise disclosure document, which is all the legal paperwork. And then those items are delivered to someone like him, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna read this, I'm gonna study it, and I'm going to make money. Now, as a franchisor, you receive $35,000 up front, $45,000 up front, just to allow someone to purchase your brand. And then you get royalties off their gross, the big number. You get paid off their gross profit every single month, each location. So when you think about franchising, a lot of people think, amazing franchisees, but they don't know what a franchisor is. The franchisor is the person who creates the model, owns the intellectual property, and gives the instructions for the entire brand.
Got it. So we all know, thank you. So the Ben and Jerry's of the world, the Starbucks of the world, the Golden Krust, the Kika Stretch of the world. So we know that there's these multiple locations all around, right? So as what I've heard you say, right, for the audience, is that you figure out how to do it, and you figure out how to replicate it, and be consistent, and figure out how to teach other people to do it. And then you charge them to do that, and the value that that person gets that you're charging is a shortcut into doing it, and a proven system into doing it, and branding and all of that stuff.
Yes,
right?
because who wants to start? All my entrepreneurs, raise your hand if you want to start from scratch again. So the benefit of buying into a franchise is the tired entrepreneur who's had enough is going to teach you the game so you don't have to make the same mistakes that they made, and they're going to help lead you to profit faster than you ever could if you tried to start from scratch. So if I purchase a Ben & Jerry's, they're going to tell me how to make $1 million selling ice cream. If I tried to do it myself, I'd be like, you want 2 scoops? You want 3? No. They already have the system proven, and now they're going to share it with you because you bought in as a franchisee.
Yeah, Antonio, so you've mastered this, obviously. So tell us about the benefit of pairing, or how you've maximized the multi-franchise game. What do you call that?
We call it MUMBO, multi-unit, multi-brand organization.
Yep. Yeah, so tell us about how you've sort of done that and combined the real estate thing, how you've kind of combined not just the franchise part and the business part, but also the real estate part.
Yeah, big time. Shout out to Kiki for giving us the game on the franchisor side. And what I'd summarize that with is the franchisors provide that structure that's really needed for us entrepreneurs to get in, jump in, and be creative. With that said, what I've found is franchising, particularly multi-unit franchising and adding in real estate with it, is a way to create mathematical magic. You can take 1 + 1 and make it equal 3.
Mathematical magic.
And I've seen it firsthand time and time again. It's like if you take the franchise business and let's say it's worth $1 million, and then you take the building that it sits in and it's worth $1 million. A lot of times when you assemble things together that people want, it's actually together worth $3 million. And so it's been a magical thing for us as we built our model. The other thing I'll say about layering in real estate with your franchise plan is real estate is something that's actually tangible. So banks love it. Some of the best money that you can get is owner-occupied commercial real estate. So if you got a franchise, you get the real estate with it, banks will give you that money at sometimes rates lower than you can buy a house, and they'll give you a long run from a payback standpoint. So you end up buying the building cheaper than you would be paying in rent every month.
Love it. So your strategy, talk to me about your strategy with regard to the multiple units and acquiring multiple units and putting that into your portfolio.
Yeah, so what I decided is at an early stage, getting my community taken care of was easy for me. Once I got one unit from where I came from, my grandma thought we was Bill Gates rich. Right, so we good. Each time I got to a crossroads of growth, it was a chance for me to level up my team. It was a chance for me to give that scooper that had trusted me with their life and their future a chance to level up and become a manager. And so I've decided that each time we get to that crossroads, let's go. So when I went from single unit, and then I wanted to go to multi-unit, which is a different game. It's almost like having children. It's one thing when you got one child, you can spoil it, give it all the attention, but having two, now you got to have those systems. You got to start to create your own systems as a franchisee of how you're going to manage multiples. And then once you get to three, they say it takes a village to raise that many children, right? So going to multi-units was a whole different game. And the way I did it was I actually looked at it beyond ice cream, beyond coffee. My people is my biggest asset. And so let me focus on them. Let me be a servant leader to them so that they can grow. And then so when it became time for us to go from multi-unit to multi-state, let's branch out of North Carolina. Our next state was actually right here, Atlanta, Georgia. It was a wide open market for Ben & Jerry's. I came down here and I just saw the high rises. I saw the black excellence happening in this city. And I said, I need to double down. So how did I do multi-state? Selfish servant leadership. I poured into leaders. I poured into myself to show up the best that I could. And then when it was time to go from multi-state to, can we become the largest and fastest growing Ben & Jerry's developers on the planet? Can we go and do DC, Charlotte, Houston, Tampa, all these cool cities in the Southeast? Yes, we can do it if we pour into our people. And then finally, when it came to chance to where it said, let's diversify. Let's go multi-brand. And while we're at it, let's go Blue Blood. Let's do Ivy League. Let's do Starbucks. Because I see people go there every day. Sometimes some of y'all go multiple times a day. We did it with servant leadership. And the most magical thing about this journey for me, and I'm sure Daren and Kiki could agree, is not the fact that you can grow a business 100x. The company I run now is literally 100 times the size of what I started with. Each dollar that used to come in 08, a C note comes in now. That's great, but the best part is I've seen some of my leaders 100x their impact. They've been able to come in and radically change their lives and change their families' lives. And I think that's what this field of franchising allows us to do for each other.
I love it because, for me, I coach people, I mentor people, and people ask me all the time, can you mentor me? I was like, yeah, maybe. If you have a business that I want to invest in, we can partner with, then I will coach you and I will mentor you, I will invest in you. And that's what you just described in terms of the model of a franchise, because and we kind of, so it's interesting because I never thought about it that way, is that you're getting these businesses going, helping them, giving them a plan, but you're also coaching and mentoring them. So I love that. So let's make this a little less abstract. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Y'all want to know how much it costs to start a franchise? Nah, y'all not interested? Y'all interested? Okay. Let's ask. I want to know. So, Kika, Daren, tell me, how much does it cost to start? I'm gonna get to that question after that. She says, yeah, I heard you. How much does it cost to start a franchise? Like, what's the typical cost? Is it $1 million? I need $1 million.
I will say this, and I think it's a good, I'm glad Antonio is here, and just again, for another line of distinction for the crowd, Antonio is a franchisee, a terrific one. He's the franchisee that you want as a franchisor. And on this side, we're franchisors, but both work, right? You can be successful in both. So now if you're talking about how much does it cost to buy a franchise, like Antonio, it could be anywhere from $50,000 to a couple $1 million. If you're thinking about being developed and become a franchisor, it's probably going to cost you anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000. And not just to get going, then you have to put your infrastructure and all those other things in. But I couldn't help but say, this is the guy. if you want a franchisee. And you have to keep things in perspective because Antonio is very successful. He's a franchisee. We are very successful. We are franchisors. So franchising works all together. But I just want to keep that distinction clear as we talk about numbers and we start moving around for that clarity for the crowd. But it just depends on what brand you're going to buy into.
So what I heard is you can get rich either way.
100%.
You can get rich by being a franchisee and by being a franchisor.
Yes, and the good thing is everybody's on the same page, right? Because as a franchisor, you make your royalties, your money that comes in every week or every month, based on Antonio's top line sales. So if Antonio is doing 100 grand a month, I want him to do 200 grand a month because that's more royalties for me. And guess what? That's more money for Antonio.
Yeah.
So we're working hand in hand, but Antonio would be my number one customer as a franchisor.
So let me ask you a question. Do you have, I think you guys help people become franchisors, right?
Yes.
I'm getting to that question though, the one y'all want to know. But you guys help people become franchisors. Do you guys have franchisees that need investments or need people to buy from you
Yes.
guys? Yeah.
We just spoke about one behind
So
us.
so the bottom line is for folks that are interested in investing in a business that's been vetted, that the folks on the stage know about that business. So reach out to them and find that out. But the question they really want to know is how they're going to get the money. They want to know, okay, they can buy a franchisee, they can become a franchisee, and they want to know, how do you get the money to do that?
Okay.
I'm going to ask both of you guys this question.
Okay, so from the franchise, how many people have a business that they would want to franchise and become the franchisor? Ooh, all right, y'all better meet us to the side after this speech. No, so typically it's similar to the same range, $60,000 to $100,000 for a company to develop your brand. And what is development? For me, when I was developed, I was one of the first Black females in 2018. So I was developed, thank you. I was developed and I received templates. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all because I also wanna protect us in this space. I received templates, yeah, right? And so I received the templates and I'm a franchisor, but now what do? I had to learn a lot of things the hard way. And so what should happen in franchise development is your brain, your spirit is coached to be a franchisor because it's a very big calling. It's very serious. And shout out to Sip It. They have 17 locations across the country, one of our Black Box brands. Can y'all stand up real quick? Sorry, I just shot them out.
There you go.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Okay, so the development is preparing you for the job of being a franchisor and the paperwork. So that's something that Black Box does. Now, what we know is that sometimes if you ask for $60,000 up front from a small business, it's like, what? From where, right? Where do you get the money? So what we do is we allow people to come in over the course of 72 months for $625 a month, which you can build into your, profit and loss statements and stop ordering out so much on DoorDash. Don't go shopping as much. We believe that $625 is something that most small businesses can do who are profiting. And after 72 months, you will be a national franchise brand. If you so happen to come into money, you can pay it off faster, but that's kind of what makes Black Box different because we know we wanted to cater to everyone. We know how hard it is to come up with the funds. And so you can actually get in for $625 and become an emerging franchisor literally today.
Love it. So today, I think one of the things that you mentioned is that people always talk about going into business, how to go into business, how to start. And the cheat code is not to start from scratch, right? The cheat code is to franchise, buy a business, do different things, right? So, but, things are not as, for some, things aren't as optimistic economically as they have been at different times, right? So is today a good time to go into franchising? And why?
My advice on that is just like whether stock market, real estate, or franchising, which we're talking about today, trying to time the market on in and out is a losing battle. Take the leap whenever you're ready. In economies like right now, what it creates is opportunity. Remember, I shared with you, I started as a franchisee in 2008, i.e. the Great Recession, i.e. the worst economy since the Great Depression 100 years ago. So had I not taken that leap in that time when things were uncertain, I might not be in front of you and be able to share my story about franchising today. So take the leap.
Love that.
TJ, I would just add on to that with franchising, you're working with scale. So when the economy goes down and you see everybody selling, a burger for $1 and all these great discounts, it's because we are buying things at scale. So what costs you $5 costs us $1, right? Franchisees are happy, right? So we have room to work with those margins because we're working at a higher level, higher volume. So when you're thinking about when times get hard, you have a lot of margins when you're playing in the franchise field because we're buying in bulk and at scale. Get to reduce those costs.
Got it. So in the beginning, I mentioned, and I didn't make a mistake, that there was 33,000 franchisees in the U.S. and only 3,500 of them are owned by black folks. And why is that? What do you think the reason for that is?
And so that, correct, for franchisees, and the numbers for franchisors are even more startling. Again, the franchisor is the person who created the brand, receives the royalties, owns the intellectual property. All of you. It's just a matter of converting to an actual franchise. So like TJ said, there's 33 million small businesses in this country, and less than 3,500 are franchise brands, but less than 1% are black-owned franchisors. Yeah. Less than 1% of the 3,500. We're not even talking about the 33 million small businesses. And why? I believe it's lack of, we don't know about it. We don't know how to get into franchising. We don't know it's an option. And I always tell the team, 2025 is a very important year because small businesses are shuttering at an all-time rate. And the reason why we're running with Black Box is because we're trying to save as many small businesses as possible. So I would encourage everyone, you come to these festivals, you take notes, you network, but take an action. You owe your entire bloodline what it takes to become, a national brand. You want them to eat and live. So the numbers are startling. It doesn't make sense. And so I think we're all up here trying to show everyone that you can do the same thing. There's nothing special about us. The only thing that's special is we got beat up multiple times in life and kept going. And my definition of success is the ability to keep going. That's it.
So, thank you. So, again, I don't want to be, here's the thing. I know that I think interest rates were dropped yesterday. So a little bit, that's all right, just a little bit. So, but what that means is that the economic outlook is probably not great, because we're doing that to stimulate the economy. So with that being said, what are the things that you do to recession-proof your business? And I know you said just jump in and do it whenever. Right? And that's true. Just jump in. It's an investment. It's gonna play out over time. But what can you do to recession-proof your business? Anybody?
I'll just say this real quick. Keep your expenses low.
Yes.
Keep your overhead low. Low.
I love it.
That's great advice, and that's what my business partner, Eric, who was our CFO, would say. And then I'm the offense guy. I believe in throwing up that top line and looking for opportunities that you can accelerate in economies like right now. So I think that if you start thinking about how do you take a bold leap like get into franchising, whether on the franchisor or franchisee side, it's really, really important that you need to step in with not this level 1 energy, not level 2 energy, but what I call level tenacity energy. That's what it takes. Franchising on every side of the game is a full court press. And so that's the energy I bring, whether it's a recession or whether we're in an up economy.
Love it. All right. Y'all got any questions? What's your question? When what? When to scale.
When you feel it in your spirit to do it, do it.
No, I actually agree. I think everybody should be franchise curious, but when you start having an ability, you've created a business where you can remove yourself. Like if you have a special skill set that only you can do, literally only you can do it, and you can't train anybody to do it, franchising probably is not for you. If you have a skill set or a business that you can train somebody else to do it and replicate it, start doing some research, right? Become franchise curious, sit down with some experts, and kind of walk through that strategy. And the reason why it's hard to give an exact date on when to scale, if we waited for the perfect time, we wouldn't be here right now. I think we were way too early. Here we are, right? So we were right on time, right? So get franchise curious early, I would say, and if you can replicate your business, start doing some research.
Love it. So what is your personal mission? You know, as it in regard to business or in regard to franchising. What's your personal mission? Because I know you guys make a lot of money, so you could probably do some other things. You know, so what's your mission at this point?
I like to say that franchising is the great unknown, but the great equalizer. And actually, this is full circle moment. For those that don't know, Kika and I met, not on this stage, on a different stage at InvestFest in 2023. We talked after. I said, Kika, you know there's like 12 black franchisors in the country, right? And she was like, yeah. And I said, it makes no sense, right? Because we are so creative. We have a lot of tenacity as a community, but we just didn't have the knowledge for franchising, and we are living and seeing the benefits every day of being franchisors.
So there was 12.
At that time, right, about 20 total.
Franchisors.
Franchisors. Right?
So, and how many franchisors have you guys?
We've added about, collectively, I would say about 30 to the 20.
Is that so? When they say you can't make a difference, you absolutely can make a difference.
Yeah.
So congratulations,
Yeah.
That's awesome. Got to ask you that same question, man. What's your mission? Because I know that's a part of your bio, like, you know, to community impact.
I think one of the things that holds our community back the most is access to knowledge and information. And this phenomenal field of franchising is actually pretty new. It's only 50 years old. Us breaking down the barriers to access to knowledge and information through sharing more is what I'm all about at this point. I'm about impact. When it's all said and done, I want to be able to say that me and my company, Primo, left a $10 billion impact on this black business world. And with that in mind, you know, our focus right now is just sharing the game so that whenever you start your franchise, your path can be even smoother than ours.
Love it. And what does the idea of boss time, and why is it important to franchising?
Yo, so this concept of boss time, I wrote a book called The Selfish Servant. So if you want to learn more about franchising, peep the book. I talk about my journey throughout. The concept of boss time, I think, has been the most valuable piece for me. And I actually learned it from my kindergartner, my son Knox. You know, he loves Chick-fil-A. Me and him was going to Chick-fil-A one day, and I had to make a detour, and he threw a big fit. I mean, he started acting crazy, crying. I'm one of them old school parents, and I pulled over the car on him, like, look, boy, you better get it together. And so he finally dried his tears, and he said, Dad, do we got a gazillion billion hours or something? I wanted to go play Fortnite, and you're about to waste my time. And it actually made me think, like, we don't. You know, we got less than 10,000 hours in a given year. So if we live to be 100, we don't even have a million hours hardly. And so this concept of boss time is putting your highest and most priority things first and doing that, executing on that. So when it comes to your journey in franchising, what's the most important thing that you need to do first? And then tackle that. And that's been my concept of boss time. And that's how my vision for each of you is that through us engaging and talking and you taking those next steps, you create some growth opportunities for you and your family and your community. So
I love that. So we have on the stage franchise, how to be, how to be successful franchising, buying a franchise. So how to own a Chick-fil-A. And then we have on the stage how to become a Chick-fil-A. So that's what we have on the stage, right? So I don't know if I got, what's that one more question?
Say that question.
Number one reason franchisees fail.
Your answer might be different than our answer.
I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can get us on the same accord.
Yeah.
Taking your eye off the customer is always a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
My boy told you, as a franchisor, your most important customer is your franchisee. So franchisors who are gonna fail, and the ones that I've seen fail, are the ones that don't appreciate their franchisees and take us for granted.
Yep.
Franchisees who fail are the ones who get into the business and forget that the franchisee doesn't write the checks. That customer who comes in and supports your business writes the checks.
I'll add to that and say that the inability to manage staff. I've seen a lot of franchisees come into positions of power. I'm a business owner now. Listen to me. You calling out, don't do it again. And the new age of employees are like, okay, bye. And so you,
that's too
like
real.
Literally, like miss me with the bye. So like you have to be able to successfully manage staff because they don't have to work for you. They can work for anyone. And so if you let your ego come into play, they're gonna feel it. And when they quit, you have no business if it relies on humans. So I would say not managing staff and not listening to what they also want out of the company.
That's so real. I'm thinking back, Kiki, to a situation I had with another franchisee where they came in with that Joe Clark, lean on me, and they were out of business within a year, so.
Hey, so here's the deal. If you want to become a Chick-fil-A, here you go. If you want to buy a Chick-fil-A, we got all the knowledge and just a bunch of business knowledge here. So I'd like for y'all to do something before we leave. There's two words I got for you. Well, there's 4 words, right? The first word I want y'all to repeat and say, boss time. Come on now. Boss time.
Boss time.
Boss time.
Boss time.
And then black box.
Black box.
Black box. Anybody that want to know about, turning your business into a franchisor, come up and talk to these guys. And if you want more of that magic over there, let's come talk to Antonio. So, hey, thank you for coming. You guys have a good rest of the show. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
TJ
for
Millionaire
coming.
Mentor
Thank you,
on
TJ.
Instagram.